Hello and welcome everybody to the AV Exchange presented by Starin. I'm your host, Joe Dunbar. It's Thursday, November 14th. We're getting closer and closer. It's pretty much holiday season, right? I hope it's nice and toasty where I am. I am. I'm finally have been getting on the move. I've been teasing you guys forever, saying that I was going to be getting out of Minnesota. I'm on the western slope of the Rockies right now and still kind of moving south because that winter weather is coming my way. I was talking to our producer Brandon before this one. He said it's feeling pretty wintry where he is. So we hope you're busting out all the red flannel pajamas and the warm beverages, and appreciate y'all joining us. I'm excited every time we do this because we always have great guests in the house. I'm just going to start calling it, I think, Logitech Week, maybe, is like, it's Logitech Week here on the AV Exchange. I'm wearing my Logitech gear. You can sort of see here in the camera shot. We got Pike from Logi on the horn, so we'll get him in here in a few minutes. Pike is always fun, always exciting, and has a bunch of cool stuff to show us. We're going to talk about the newest product from Logitech, the Logitech Extend, and dive into what that looks like. We're going to talk about the partner program for sure, because there's been some updates to that and some changes there. The room configuration tool, which is also seeing some updates and changes. And we're going to do our best to not bore you guys with slide decks or anything like that this week. We're going to get into live demos, which is really, probably the best way to see some of the stuff. Before we get Pike in here, you guys, I just want to kind of go through the normal housekeeping stuff, Q&A for questions, so we can actually make sure that those get answered and not lost in the chat. If you want to sound off in the chat, I always love to know where everybody is. Like I said, I'm out in Western Colorado right now, so we get people from all over the country and all over North America, and we've seen a few international folks join the stream before, so let us know where you're coming from. I also love to hear just relevant conversation about the topics at hand, so if you have experience with Logitech, if you're curious about the Extend, if you see how it compares to the Switch and the other products in the lineup, bring that stuff to the chat and just keep the questions, the specific questions you want us to answer, in the Q&A. We're not going to do a poll this week because Zoom's fighting me for some reason and I can't update it. It's usually a quick one if you know, but we can skip it. And we're giving away an MX Brio 705, which I'm not on right now, but I do have. It is my day-to-day webcam and is a wonderful, if you know me, you know I am quick to not like webcams, and I have been really impressed with that. So that is exciting. Stick around to the end, and we'll raffle that one off. And without any further ado, let's bring in our guy from Logitech. Pike, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Not suffering from the same cold weather. It does starting to feel like fall here in the Bay Area. Actually, can see the leaves turn. So, but the sky's not gray. So
there you go. There you go. All right.
But yeah, no, excited to be here. Want to thank everyone for joining. This is, again, I love doing these exchange with the Starin team and Joe and I. We always have fun doing this. We love the questions that we're getting, and we have definitely a packed agenda. Got some cool demos. I figured instead of doing this from my lab this time, I decided to actually demo this in one of our meeting rooms, as you can see here. So we have some fun demos for you. I do have some slides, but I call them visuals. They're just visuals as we have a conversation. With no further ado, I'm super excited to showcase, and I'll just quickly zoom out here a little bit. So what you see here, this is our Extend, which we'll be demoing shortly. Super excited about this product. It's the capabilities of this product, the simplicity, and everything that it brings to the table, no pun intended, and which we'll see in today's demos. It's honestly, it's again another game changer. I feel like I keep saying that, but it really, really is. And you'll see how this is gonna further enhance the experience, give you that bridge, outside your turnkey room, because again, a room solution is the way. May that be Microsoft, Zoom, or Google, whatever, yourself, or for the partners your customer standardizes on, right? We know we have a mixed audience today, which I love. I love that there's partners joining and end users. Everyone is welcome. But again, that one touch is really the way to go. But we all know there's some challenges in the industry. And then if we really look close at what this product can bring, there's actually some additional use cases, which I'm really excited to demo and speak to you guys about, where it's not just another bridge over, the BYOD connection into that room. So we'll get into that. Before we start getting into the demo, I do want to do a bit of a product overview to make sure you guys are all kind of familiar, kind of how it works, right? Show some visuals, because of course to the end user, it's this, honestly, this magic purple cable, but we're going to break down, I'm going to reveal the magic, like, not like a magician that never tells. We're going to really show you how this all comes together, from an installation perspective, and capabilities. So I'm sharing my entire screen here, but here we go. So Logitech Extend. The good news is we announced this a little over a month ago, and it is starting to trickle into distribution. So I foresee that this should be available by Starin most likely by the end of November, but you can already place orders so you can be first in the queue.
I've asked Pike if anyone's got this spec in a project yet. It doesn't look like anyone has, so I'm glad that we're here giving them all the info.
Yeah,
so they can
we'll
put
ask that give it an hour, and I think at least half the projects will be spec'd. So and why? So let's talk about a couple reasons, right? We all know that even though you as an end user or your customer, standardizes on a platform, they may be a Teams house, a Zoom house, or Google, or in some scenarios they may still live on an island called WebEx. That being said, as time went on, Teams, of course, can join Zoom. And Teams can also join WebEx. Sorry, I made that wrong. The problem here is it cannot join Google, right? So, and I'm a terrible artist, as you can tell. But so the point I'm trying to make is there is absolutely no interop between these two. Their legal department is still trying to negotiate, I guess. So that becomes a real challenge if your customer or you as a customer is standardizing on Google and you want to join a Teams call, or vice versa, right? Because right now, that almost looks like a bad smiley face, but that's game over, right? So this is just one example where being able to bridge and being able to temporarily bypass the room and connect your laptop kind of breaks that barrier. It's that bridge, right? The other challenge that we sometimes see is another use case. Customer might be a Teams house, but their marketing team wants to do events and webinars, not on Teams, on Zoom for whatever reason, right? Now, of course, you can join a Zoom call from Teams, but it's not going to give you all the capabilities. You're joining as a guest. You can't host a webinar. Now, if you want to use that same room and use the great audio and video that we as Logitech can provide with like a Rally Bar or Rally Bar Mini, for example, right? You can now leverage all that with the Logitech Extend, because it's going to give you that full capability for Zoom. So again, these are just some of the use cases. Now, I do want to kind of walk you down through kind of history lane. Switch is not going away. We brought this to market, 4 years ago. It's still a phenomenal product. But what we're now doing is we are moving Switch into a specific type of deployment. And what I mean by that is when it comes to room solutions, there's different ways that you can deploy, right? You can, for instance, natively run a Zoom room or a Teams room, or recently Google as well, on the bar. That's referred to as kind of an appliance-based solution. So it would be like, Zoom on Android or Microsoft Teams on Android and so forth. Now, the other deployment method is using a PC-based deployment. So it's really the compute-based deployments that could either be a PC running Microsoft Teams on Windows or a roommate, right? These devices don't have native BYOD. And what do I mean by native BYOD? That means a USB HDMI pass-through connection to basically bridge and connect your laptop, right? So Switch is now going to be specifically for that category. What we have now designed is another solution specifically catering to appliance-based video bars. Our video bars that are running on an Android operating system. So any of them, even Meetup 2 that doesn't do a room solution, it's still running, a light version of Android on the back end. So any of our newer video bars, so Rally Bar Huddle, Mini, Rally Bar, you want to lead with Extend when we're deploying it natively on the bar. So,
Pike,
go ahead.
Just repeat that for us, please.
Yeah. So, in just a recap, right? Switch is not going away. Switch will be now specifically for PC-based type of deployments. So running it on like our Asus NUC or Lenovo, or a Chrome CTL box or a roommate, right? So think of it like a standalone compute that's running the room solution. Anything
Switch
outside. Sorry?
Switch for Windows, Extend for Android.
Yeah, that's a good way. And then there's some caveats. It's not just Windows, it's also roommate. So think of it almost like anytime the customer is deploying it with a compute. So with a Rally Plus, for instance, or all of their solutions are running it, and the Rally Bar is just connected to the PC. So,
if I can steal some audio verbiage, I'm going to say switch when you're running an outboard host machine, and then Extend when we're running something in the box, so to speak.
Yeah, natively on the bar, exactly. So
there's some chat going on. I know Anthony was saying he was going to spec one of these, but it turned out the Switch was the right solution. And I think the biggest thing coming out with this product has been folks want to make sure they're specing the right product with the right solution. So that's it right there.
Yeah, exactly. And, Switch is not going away. But of course, since that 4 years, when we created Switch, display alt mode wasn't a thing. Now, any laptop that's 4 years or less than 4 years old has that natively built in, and other devices as well. So a big game changer on the Extend is with Switch, you need a driver. You need the DisplayLink driver installed on the laptop, or it's not going to properly function.
Got it.
Extend, no drivers required. So that's a big game changer because it's using display alt mode. So even if it's someone outside the organization, again, with Switch, we usually tell, and I'm switching back and forth, no pun intended. IT can, of course, deploy that driver to all the corporate laptops. They can make it part of the image. But what sometimes is a deal breaker is, well, this room also needs to be used by people outside our organization. You're not going to have that problem with Extend. But trust me, there's a whole bunch of additional features that are going to wow you, and you're going to really see that you want to, position this for many different type of opportunities, different deployments. So, of course, there is really two ways we can look at that. You can position Extend for room solutions. So, Microsoft Teams, Google, Zoom. Google is not yet supported, but that is in some time in 2025 that will be supported. So again, I forgot to add the little asterisk, but think of that. It's on the roadmap. But Zoom and Microsoft is a great solution you can already now position. Right. And again, the Extend will also work with Switch Sight, just like Switch can work with our Sight companion camera. So does Extend. And then, of course, you have your rooms that are running pure BYOD. Again, Extend can be a great experience because it's a single cable that can do a whole lot more, which we'll get into that. So,
hey, Pike.
Yeah.
We did get, let me check. Alex had asked if the Extend uses DisplayPort alt mode or DisplayLink.
This DP alt mode, because and that's why with DisplayLink we need a driver, because it's DP alt mode, no drivers required. Great question.
Great. Thank you.
So just like Switch, we have the magnetic dock. You can stick it on, or you can, of course, drill a small hole and have a beautiful, clean docking station, which I have here. Now, here's some of the big improvements, and they're big. So first of all, As you can see here, it's just, like switch. It's a two hub solution, right? We have a hub at the table and one by the display. So that's how it comes together. Now, what's great about this, no more strong USB cable. So if you think about it, so switch also the MSRP, and we'll do the comparison a little bit more in detail later. And I will probably commit to sharing a slide deck too when Joe and team sends the email. That I probably need till next Monday, but because I want to
We
clean
can
it
do
up.
that.
Yeah, well, so we'll send that out Monday. So there's a price difference, but this is not just the price difference, right? Because if you think about it, so first of all, 100 meters. Switch maxes out at 25 meters. But here's the thing with switch, that is a strong USB cable. You have to purchase the additional cable, which again, I'm ballparking. Don't quote me. I'm a sales engineer. I'm not a sales rep. But the strong meter, the strong USB cable, the 10 meter is I think 289, and I think the 25 meter strong USB cable is somewhere within the 589 ballpark.
That
So
sounds
you can
right.
see, yeah, you really, you can get into almost like, 1600 from a price point perspective, where with extend, well, it's basically 799 plus another maybe $20, $10 cable run if you make your own cables, right? It's just running Cat 6A. Another big change is that it's being fed through PoE. So we are powering this device. So to break that price point down, we are not including a power supply for two reasons. Reason number one, what if you need to deploy in a room where for whatever reason, it's all concrete, there's just no cable power available. There's just no power at the table for whatever reason, and the customer doesn't want to invest in that. You can still deploy extend, and it will do everything except, of course, charge the laptop. But that's another great example where we are not dependent on the power. And we'll dive into the advantage of outfitting it with a standalone power supply. So I'm going to come back to that point, but just wanted to make sure that everyone knows power is optional.
I love that. We do have a quick question about the cat cable. Our good friend Brandy wants to know if Cat 6A is the requirement, or is that just
Yeah.
required for max bandwidth?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is going a little bit back and forth. Right now, I'm just saying a requirement.
Okay.
It may work. It's funny that this question brought up because I did bring that up with leadership. So I might follow back on that. It's a great question, but right now I'm just positioning it as the way to go.
I love it. We'll take
Yeah.
it.
So there is another real key changer. Switch had one USB port for the AV, right? Of course, you need to use that port to connect the bar. I'm very excited to share with you that we have added a secondary USB-A port. Now, what makes this is again, this product is a game changer, not by one thing. As you can see, we can, the fact that we can do category cable, that's huge. The fact that we don't have to use a driver, it's multiple. So this is, I would say, my third, right? If I would rank them, right? I would say, no driver, that's the biggest, game changer. Then the fact that you can run a category cable. The third is the secondary USB port. Because if you think about it, you can do all kinds of enhancements to that room. You can decide, you know what? I'm going to put a USB-A to RJ45 dongle connected to my network or a separate network. So if someone's using the room outside your organization, it could be a wired guest network. You may not even need to have a Wi-Fi network for your guests. Or it's an internal connection, and now anyone in the organization can use a wired connection to the corporate network. That's huge. And you could also decide, you know what? This is a training room. I may need to use a presenter like a Logitech Spotlight. You can actually connect a USB dongle for a presenter or a keyboard and mouse. Or if you want to be very adventurous, and yes, this works, and yes, we don't officially support this, but I've done this, you can put a USB hub on there and an adapter. And what I done at home, because I forgot the actual fourth use case, what if this is a touch panel? If
Right.
this is a touch panel, you can actually do touchback by connecting it back to the display hub. And now, if you connect a Windows laptop, so unfortunately Mac doesn't support this, so but if I connect one of my Windows machines, I now get touchback, and I'm driving this from my laptop.
Wow.
Now, just coming back to the fact that you can unofficially, you can put a dongle in there, and I've done this. I've literally went to town with my lab. I connected a dongle for my keyboard mouse, a dongle for my presenter. I connected it to Ethernet, and then I did touchback. So through that single connection, my Surface 7 got Ethernet, keyboard, mouse, presenter, and touchback. So, yeah, many possibilities with that secondary port. I
So
think we'll
power.
pause for questions there.
Yeah, no, we're caught up on them right now. That's so powerful. Honestly, Pike, I've been learning a bunch about this solution since it's launched. And I've seen all these use cases. I understand, and I want to reiterate for the folks at home, not necessarily a supported configuration. And if I recall, this is really due to like the total bandwidth that can go through
USB layers.
time,
It's
right?
just our QA. Like we have to test that. There's all these different types of dongles out there, et cetera,
Sure.
et cetera. But it just works. So that's the unofficial part.
That's what we love to hear. It just works. That's everybody's
Yeah,
favorite
but
thing.
yeah, if you want to play it safe, you can just say I'm going to prioritize this for Ethernet or a dongle. You based on the room.
Right.
But again, many of our partners are also using a USB hub when they install switch with a DSP. So it's kind of
Yeah,
the undocumented tip.
that's right. We do
Um,
that. We do that quite a bit with that product. So I love to see this addressing that need.
Yeah, I know it. So maybe one day we'll just do 4 ports. It's also it's cost, right? I think
Right.
$7.99 is a beautiful sweet spot. Why is this a micro port there? It's a service port. You would connect back so you can do firmware updates. It's out of the gate. It's not going to be supported with sync. That will be rolling out. But the good news is there is no firmware update scheduled for these devices within the next few months from what I've been told. So it's not really a concern, and that feature will be rolling out in 2025. Moving on to the table hub, and that kind of brings me back to kind of that secondary connection. So of course the connection here for the USB-C is right there. It's secured, and there's the connection for the optional USB-C port. I also like just showing a pictogram, and again, we've already added this to our VC wiring diagrams, which will be shared again in an email. So this is kind of that overview. So let's get back to why it's important and why it's a good thing that we're not providing a power supply. You can now standardize the power supply based on what your end user standardizes on. So a great example is Dell does trickle charging, right? So, and that this just helps preserve the battery, but our generic power supply is not necessarily catered specifically how Dell does things or how Lenovo does things. So you get where I'm going with that. If your customer is a Dell shop, outfit it with a Dell power supply. And the good news is that Switch has supported 60 watts. We actually support up to 100 watts. Now, even if you connect a Dell with 160 watts, you're still getting really good charging rate. And the majority of devices are kind of fall in that category from a charging perspective. So it's great that you can now really kind of customize it based on the laptops that they primarily standardize on. It doesn't mean that if you connect my Mac to the extend with a Dell charger, that it's not going to work, right? But it's primarily what we see with PC laptops that they really prefer sometimes. Dell's a great example to use their supplied power supply. I wanted to show you a quick picture of in the box, right? From a mounting, it's not really a mounting bracket. You can just easily just kind of, screw it into the wall, for instance, or, other partners may have different approaches. They're very lightweight, so it's very easy to mount it behind the display as well. So this is kind of what is all included. And yes, we're going to get to the oh, yeah. So this is what I wanted to go. I knew there was a catchphrase. So this is why I tend to just standardize Cat 6A. You can use a lower grade cable. You're just going to restrict the distance. So it's great feedback. I should probably just add that to that first slide. So there we go.
That answers it.
Resurfacing that great question. Yeah. We talked about this. This is just, again, just wanted to visualize that comparison, right? No driver required. Also 4K at 60 frames. Additional USB-A port, which is phenomenal. That's, $799 price point, which is really sweet. The enhanced, power delivery that we provide. Again, here's really your summary here.
I love this, Pike, and I had to screen cap that the other day when I got a chance to see that. Like you said, we'll do our best to get the slide deck out to the folks so they can have it available to them. But you combine that with what we learned earlier about the switch being for like outboard PC focused deployments and the extend being for more inboard host devices. That kind of answers all the questions about when do I use which one, which is kind of I think the biggest takeaway here.
Exactly. And yeah, it will be rolled into Sync. It will be rolled into Teams eventually and Zoom. Also, again, we're on a great journey on really making our products sustainable. So Extend is also made with 40% PCR plastics, which I love seeing that. And with that, let's get to the demos, and I'll give Joe a little bit of time just in case there is questions. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I'm a little bit better in frame. There we go.
I think we're caught up on questions right now. I imagine they're going to start coming in when we dive into a demo here. So we'll do our best to get to them, folks, when they fit in here. But certainly, I hope that was a good overview on the Switch. I felt like that was a great chunk of information and not too much, right? It's a good delineation between when to use what. Here's the highlights. I'm actually most excited. This feels kind of nerdy, but the 100-watt power supply kind of gets me excited. I feel like that's the new benchmark in terms of amount of power folks are wanting to deliver via USB-C to various devices, not just laptops. And with that amount of power, I think we're going to see the amount of devices you can utilize is going to grow, but only time will tell.
No, exactly. All really, really good points. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and kind of prep my laptop here for this demo.
Alex did drop another question for us real quick and is asking, that only USB 2.0, I can't use a 3.0 camera with the Extend. I think, Alex, when you use the Extend, well, I suppose not always. I would assume you'd be using the Extend in a solution that has a camera built into it. I'm trying to think about the application where you'd be using an Extend with an external camera.
Yeah, it's again, right now, Extend is designed for video bars with the built-in camera.
Right, right.
Anything outside of that, you would put that in the switch bucket for now. So, yeah.
Okay. Yep, that makes me.
And the Rally bar is 3.0. So,
good to know.
Okay, so I have my laptop here. And I want to just, seeing is believing. I just want to show a simple demonstration. This is a Zoom room. Now, Zoom takes this a step further because Zoom has also created kind of native BYOD. So they have a whole interface, which you're not going to see the whole thing, but you'll see me interact with it. So as you can see, here's the Extend. It's a beautiful little magnetic dock that I have right here. I can't zoom in too far because this is a smaller room. I have an AV card that I can't push further back. But again, we'll, share the visuals as well. So all I'm doing is just connecting this to my Mac. Again, it works with Mac and PC. And what's going to happen is with Zoom, with Microsoft Teams, it will just automatically switch. Zoom takes this to another level, right? I can decide, okay, do I want to do screen share? Maybe it's just local, right? I just want to share my screen. So I decided to do that, and as you can see, we just clone it because we don't support 3 screens. The Rally bar is just splitting that signal. We support 2 screens, right? This is screen 1, screen 2. I just have it in clone, not in extended mode. Now, if I click stop sharing, right, and decide to let me just, I'm going to disconnect it and show you if I walk into the room. So that's one use case. As you can see, the point I'm trying to make is this is now like an HDMI ingest, right?
Right.
So even customers that may not need that BYOD bridge, and trust me, there's a lot that do, they may want a better way of sharing wired because a lot of C-suite execs love that. But if you just do normal HDMI ingest, no charging, no network, no access to a presenter. CFO can walk in, connect this, they get Ethernet, you can give it a presenter access, and they're sharing. So it's a multifunctional sharing. So it really, takes that HDMI ingest to the next level. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it right here.
Pike,
So
I just
make
want to
sure.
drive home why that's so awesome. I think so many people, I get asked all the time about HDMI ingest and how to do local wired screen sharing. And what a lot of people maybe don't realize is that the two kind of main platforms that we usually focus on, Zoom and Teams, right? They both have the capability built in natively to their platform to wirelessly screen share from the application on your PC or
Yeah.
Mac directly to a room. But a lot of people, A, don't know that, or B, when they do know that, the users, it's not a clunky experience. It's pretty smooth, but it still requires them to like know that it can
They have to
happen.
think about it. Yeah. They have to
Yeah.
select
And with
no
this,
audio because
yeah. And
if they normally join, you get the echoing. Even though Microsoft
exactly.
has no audio, no, again,
And with
great,
this,
great
you're just
examples.
so the local screen share aspect to it, I could see us adding extend
Yeah.
to a bunch of Android-based Rally Bar systems, which let's be real, I mean, that's a huge chunk of the market. You could
Yeah.
easily add extend to that solely for the wired screen sharing purposes, and that would be a valuable product in itself. And so the BYOD functionality that you're about to show us is just another huge add-on to it. But that don't lose sight of that feature in itself being worth
No,
value
I
to.
couldn't agree more. The other thing is like if you're sharing for a little bit, like 10, 50 minutes, that's fine. But if you're hosting an entire event and you're really going through an ROI report or it's a 2-hour meeting, your laptop's just going to die. So now you have to, even if you're wireless sharing, you might have to get your power supply. No problem.
Absolutely.
It's already being taken care of, right? So as you
Absolutely.
can see, I'm in BYOD mode, right? There's my Teams call. I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. And you can see, well, you guys can see yourself now a little bit too here, but I'm just in a Teams meeting here. And what I'm leveraging is the camera, the speakers, and the microphones of the Rally Bar in the room. So I'm going to go ahead and select Rally Bar for audio as well. So it's entirely now linked to the room. And just to show that, it's if I zoom in a little bit here, you'll see if I, for instance, press mute, you'll see that light. It's a little hard to see from this feed here. I'll try to
I
zoom in
think
a
I see
little
it
bit.
behind the grill
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, so you can see I can actually, or if I, turn off the camera, you can see camera on, off, leveraging the Rally Bar. And it's really that simple. So, and as soon as I disconnect, put it back on the docking station, done deal.
It's
But
too easy.
wait, there's more. I had to put in that cheesy sales line. What
That's
if
your
I
best
tell
Ron
you
Popeil impression.
you can run a meeting from any iPad 10 or higher? And there's some other devices too. Now, Android, that's a very broad range of product, but we actually have a link where we publish an article with other validated devices. Today, I just want to emphasize, so here's an iPad. I already have my Teams app open here. I'm going to go ahead and connect my iPad 10. So iPad 10 or higher, running iOS 17 or higher. This is already on. In this scenario, it's on iOS 18 or iPad Pro. Will now allow you to have a meeting using your iPad. So I'm on my
This is
iPad,
huge.
and voila, I'm now actually starting a meeting, and I'm gonna leverage the camera and the microphones from the Rally Bar. There you have it. I can now actually run a call from here, right? Um, the other thing that I wanted to share is like we're showing a Zoom room. So again, I'm using Teams now on my iPad. I could also decide like if I want to do a FaceTime call, right? So I'm going to end this meeting. It's really any type of platform you can, leverage. So you can do FaceTime, right? The other use case that we're not demoing here today, but I want to speak to it. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. So that's a good transition because the clock is ticking and we have so much more to cover. But you can see it's a fun demo to showcase. So I'm going to
Bambi is
go
excited
back.
about this because they use their iPads working remotely. I am overly excited about this feature. I just lighter and less. Everybody wants to carry around less, and I want it to be
Right.
smaller. You know what I mean? So this really drives that home. Shout out
All
Bambi.
right.
Thanks for letting us know. I
Yeah,
love
I'm
the
throwing
feedback.
this up because I like to just kind of show a visual to that. So let me reset my deck here, give you guys a little bit time to. Now this is outdated UX. Teams looks different, but I like showing the visual as I tell the story. So you saw like Zoom does a beautiful job with integrating the BYOD experience, right? I can either decide to share or I can go in BYOD mode as of today, and I know this will be put on YouTube and so forth. As of November 14th, 2024, Microsoft doesn't have the same BYOD experience with their meeting rooms. But here's the good news. Because we're leveraging our built-in Collab OS operating system, we have some tricks up our sleeves. So although I can't demo this today, just picture with me if I'm in a Teams room and yes, sorry, this is outdated UI. I need to update this slide, but just let's walk with me here. I'm gonna join the Teams room. I'm in the meeting, right? I'm in the Teams room joining that call. If I now connect the extent, it's not going to go in BYOD mode. It will function just as like what we're talking about as a very sophisticated HDMI ingest that does so much more. So if I hit share, it will either, depending on how you have it set, it will automatically share the laptop or better yet, even your iPad, right? So it becomes a content sharing device that then could also be charging your device or provide network, right? So that's a huge, in my opinion, a game changer for teams. When I talk to partners, this is just, even if they're not even using BYOD, but they want a better ingest experience, extent just brings that to a whole nother level. If you're outside the call, so you're not in a Teams call, and now you connect the extent, it will go into BYOD mode. So the biggest difference is it just doesn't have that prompt like Zoom does. So it's looking at the behavior. If you're in a meeting, you're sharing. If you're not in a meeting, it's going to take over the room. So again, that's the last game changer I wanted to share on that product.
It's stacking up to just be um I'm revolutionary. I'm not trying to turn this into a commercial and oversell it, but it's like all these little things, game changer is the word. It's these little things where you go, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's pretty neat. And all of a sudden you've got a whole stack of things that make it a whole kind of next tier solution. So
Yeah.
don't sleep on it, folks.
So we don't have time to walk everyone through regarding our room configurator. We'll be sharing this link. If you haven't been using it, this is a great tool to walk your customer through to build an entire bill of materials, and you can then share that, of course, with the Starin team that can then create a quote. So we have already added extent to our room configurator as well. But there's some other cool little features and that we've added. This is one of the features that I've been working closely on. It sounds really small, but it's a pretty big deal because people are just visual, and that's why I actually
Mhm.
like presenting slides. But as you can see, my slides are just pictures. It's basically a book a 3-year-old would read. So as you can see here, right, we're building our room. We're going to select, okay, this is going to be a Microsoft Teams room because the customer standardized on Teams. They want to go with a native appliance-based solution on the video bar so they can also leverage extent. So we recently added this tutorial. Why did we do that? Because a lot of customers and some partners weren't aware that this model, it's actually, you can interact with it. It's a 3D model. So we now, have a way to pop that up to guide the user, kind of, through the steps. And then also, we're showing things like, here's an example, a partner. This was so funny because I've been, pushing hard for this feature for quite some time, and now we finally brought it in. And the feature I'm talking about is, notice how I can switch between single, and we're still optimizing that, and dual. You may wonder, okay, what's the big deal? Well, here's one example. Sometimes this link is shared with the end user, and they may have also asked for the installation of a panel, and maybe that room is just going to have a single panel, right? So they may get confused if they, if the partner sends the link, it shows a picture of this room, right, with two displays. So that's one big example. The other example, how do I communicate to a new partner or customer that our wall mount is optimized for all display configurations, but the TV mount is for a single display. So you can see if I decide to select the TV mount, it's going to automatically switch to a single display. So these are just some of the quick enhancements I wanted to share. I'm doing a quick time check. I do want to quickly just, again, show how the configurator is really helping you build out the room. As you can see, it's already positioning the mic pods as an option, which you can add more or remove. It's selecting the actual room controller. In this case, we're going to go with tap IP because we don't necessarily need the HDMI ingest on the tap because we're going to position extend. You can see I'm going to add the riser mount. And I'm going to go ahead, get to the next page. Not only do I want to outfit the room, I want to also outfit the outside of the room with a scheduling panel so people can see if someone's in the meeting or they can easily check out or check in. And then as you can see, behold, we actually automatically already recommended the extend. And you can see it's right here on the table. And again, if you're new to it, we have, and again, we'll be sharing a data sheet, but this is a great summary. This is, again, also a very powerful tool. You could just bring up on your laptop, on your iPad with your customer. You can talk about the hardware, the room, the services. We're going to add our white glove select service, which comes with a tremendous amount of features. And as you can see, it's that simple. And I've built an entire bill of materials that I can now share with the Starin team, right? This is the beauty. And you can share it with a customer. So for instance, this link, right, I can share to the end user, and the end user, they can't modify it, but they can view the room. So they actually get the pictures of the room, hence my point of making sure you select single or dual display. And kind of get an understanding of what you're quoting here. Everything is right here. It's all MSRP, so you don't have to worry about that. And then, when you share it with Starin, they can actually download the CSV file and get all the parts ready for you for a quote. I'm going to pause here, Joe, because we have plenty to cover, but want to see if there's any questions.
We're doing good. Two things I'd love to drive home, Pike. One, I love the safety guards that are built in now. Those are minor enhancements that actually have major implications because it prevents somebody from going off the rails and speccing a product that may be compatible in one configuration, but not compatible in another configuration. So that's super important. And for all our folks listening and everyone in the audience joining us, this is such a great tool to use with your customers. If you're sitting in an in-person meeting, or if you're on a Zoom call like this and you can pull up with a screen share, the visuals are super helpful. It walks you through what questions to ask, and it gives you a great finished product that makes everybody's life easier, and it really helps the buy-in with the customer. So, we all love to be the experts, and that's great. But this is a great tool that will make sure that you get the right solution and prevent you from, making a promise you can't keep or trying to pick out the solution and then leave you walking backwards trying to, work it in from the other side. So
you just nailed it, because I talked to a partner that unfortunately wasn't aware that site's not compatible with Rally Plus, right? If you use the configurator, you would see that we would never position site with Rally Plus. You may have noticed, I went through this relatively quick because we have other exciting things to cover. But, when I came into this role as a sales engineer for distribution, the thing that I was looking at is scale. I can't talk to all partners. I can't talk. I can't be on a line with Joe. 8 hours of the day will drive each other crazy. It's just we only have so much time, right? So
Right.
this tool, what it will do for you as well, it's gonna like just to talk about all these things that is way too much to remember for a partner because they have to know everything about Logitech, but they may also need to know everything about Samsung or LG, right? They're doing a lot, and there are many things to remember. Here's an example. If you outfit site, you don't need a mic pod extension cable, right? You no
Right.
longer have to think about that because we're just not going to recommend that. Now, that's some of the logic I'm working on with the next release because in some scenarios it's still recommending that, but we're enhancing that. So I'm kind of putting on my SE head and working that in the back end. So just like what you've noticed is we didn't add switch. We know you're building a deployment type that is running on Android and it's a bar. So we're going to add extend. If
Right.
you went through that same configuration and selected PC, we're not going to show extend. We're going to show switch. So that's the beauty of it. It's going to position exactly the things that are supported. And to Joe's point, you don't have to worry about being out in the field and now you have stuff that's not compatible, right? So,
Hey Pike,
yeah.
we have a really great before we move on, we do got a bit more to cover. We got about 13 minutes here. There's the giveaway and all that. I have a great question from Brian Mata. If the Rally bar has an external DSP connected, will the BYOD user be presented with all the various audio devices, i.e., the DSP, but also the
Yeah.
Rally bar
Yeah.
mics and speakers? That's a good question.
It's a topic that has come to me several times within the last 2 weeks, and I've heard it before. As it stands today, we do not support audio pass-through when configuring a Rally Bar or Rally Bar Mini in extended audio mode. That's at this point, we don't have a solution. The only way out of that would be a switcher, HDMI USB switcher, like Genie. I might be talking to those guys or any other third party, but we don't have a native integration for that. The
I actually
only
think that's the
method,
way to go, man.
yeah, the only method right now that would work is not going down with the Rally bar, going with a Rally camera and then a switch, and then leveraging the switch and putting the unofficial, which I touched on, an unofficial USB hub and tie in the DSP and the Rally camera in there, and that will give you that access to BYOD. But right
Yeah.
now, there is not a solution outside using a switcher. Great
Got it.
question.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I will be bringing this up again with product management. It'd be amazing if we somehow could enable our USB auxiliary ports that we have 3 of on the bar, but there might be a hardware limitation. Again, I'm not part of the hardware engineering team, but I'll throw it out there. I appreciate that question. It's and I'm sure I'll be getting that just a matter of time. Give it a few more weeks. We do have that published, so that's a great segue to that question. So I'm gonna actually share something that I think is very important. We are transitioning our pro support. It's still online, but it's transitioning into our product portal. This is the product hub that we have that we're heavily investing on. We're doing some amazing work there. I'm going to see if I can quickly bring that up. While I'm waiting for that to bring that up, one article that we've published there, this is the link that we'll share as well, is the supported mobile devices. Joe and I were kind of talking about that. So you could see here on the product hub, right? I all I did is basically I went to the extend landing page. So I really love what the team has done with this interface. And I'm excited that we're transitioning pro support to our product hub page. So under extend, this article, which we'll share, it shows the supported mobile apps and platforms, as you can see. So yeah, you can also connect an iPhone as well and an iPad. Everything is listed there. this is the Logitech product hub. The link we'll share with you.
Yeah, we have
We
dropped
have
the second link in there. We can't pin it, but you can hit that compatibility link, and that is hosted on the hub as well.
yeah,
So it's in the chat for the
yeah.
folks who want to go look.
That's on me because I didn't share that before. Next time we are gonna do QR codes, and I'm gonna be make sure I'm a little bit more prepared on sharing the content with our audience. So that's on me. But to that point, right? In the product hub, let's put this to test. External audio. Let's see here.
I like this is real time, people.
Yeah, I get to make sure I don't mess this up. So you can see here, we have an article published, how external audio is done, third party DSP, all that good stuff. But it's also, when it comes to, our features as well, it walks you through, as you can see here. And there is, and this article needs to be revised, but I wanted to show this article. That's a great article by Andrew Mayer, and I think they're updating this. But in that external audio article that I think is being transitioned, we also make sure that we state that it's not supported. I think it's publishing here. It's coming external audio. There you go. So I'm going to ask the team to make this bold. So we do have this here. So I love the question, but I also want to make sure you guys get the support that you need. And of course, keep coming to these exciting events that we host here with Joe and Exchange, but also on a day-to-day. Definitely bookmark this, because as you can see, when you bookmark our Logitech Product Hub, there is so much resources there. We even publish our known issues and resolved issues. You can even subscribe to any firmware updates. So anytime there's a new firmware update, you subscribe, you're in the know, right? And then there is an entire learning section as well. So what is new with Teams and Zoom? A shout out to Craig Ishii, which creates amazing, how-to videos, tutorials. It's just a great resource. I know we got to switch to other important things, but I thought that question was a great example of, how we can better help you with the answers that you need, right? And again, if you don't get your answers, again, also reach out to Starin, right? Because Starin, Joe's right there supporting the Starin team from an SE perspective. And, if he needs to validate, he knows where to find me as well. So
I definitely do.
All the tools.
Pike, keep away from me.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying, you can't get away from me.
No, that's
I
what I'm
worry
here
every
for,
time
man.
I call you, you look at your phone and hide.
No, I'm here, and then we're scaling that, so that there'll be more updates on that as well. So I know we have end users joining us as well. This is also important for end users, but this is designed for partners that they may have a customer that is kind of at that decision-making phase. Maybe they have Meetup. They want to move forward with Meetup too, but they still maybe need to convince this one stakeholder, right? And I want to say that this is a POC program, which I'm super excited about, because in the past, our POC program, which we still have, we have a POC program, but it was catered to large enterprise. So the opportunity would require a minimum of 20 rooms. This program specifically designed for more SMB opportunities. Quite frankly, if the opportunity is 3 or more rooms, any partner can actually order a POC kit. So let's just put this to the test. Maybe they just looking for upgrading the Meetup. So you can see I can now request the Meetup, for instance, the Meetup 2. And what will happen is you fill in all your information from the partner. And then after that is done, you fill in the partner contact info. And then we ship out an entire kit for free. But wait, there's more. I would say what I'm super excited about is that it comes with free support. And it's an onboarding call. If you want to have your customer educated, maybe it's a customer, customer has an IT department that is new to also configuring Microsoft Teams. They can help with that.
Are you chatting with yourself right now?
Yeah, I'm making a little typo.
I'm just wondering if you're going to get the support call on the other end.
Well, let's put it to the test. Let's do this.
I love it, man. I told you beforehand.
We got 5 minutes, but apparently the SLO is 55 seconds. So, but basically the part you would identify yourself, right? You ask the question, and there is chat support. If it's after hours, they can follow up with an email. It's a phenomenal tie into not just shipping gear, but the support is absolutely key. So I've chatted with Eric before.
I'm sure he saw your name and he knew what he was getting into right there. I told Pike beforehand, I'm all about the live demos here because it's really, it's the proof in the pudding. If we can use the product here live in real time, not really rehearsed, then you can feel comfortable with it being out in the field and showing it to your customers. And all of these tools that we've seen, we've got a couple minutes left, and I don't even know kind of how to recap the amount of information we've gone over here. So much good stuff.
Not a very serious conversation with Eric, but I wanted to say, I want to prove that this is not an AI bot. This is a real person here for our partners to help support the POC program, help onboard the customer, do a walkthrough with customer and partner, and is there to make sure that we have a success with the POC. And you can see Eric is not an AI bot.
AIs don't know their cheeses.
Yeah, well, I'm Dutch. I'm biased. I'm always gonna vote for Gouda. So yeah, and then you add the chat, and then you can give it feedback. Again, this is how we're really expanding the program. I'm gonna stop sharing now to give everyone a slide break. But yeah, super excited about this POC program for our partners as well that can be leveraged. We gonna also have Extend pretty soon, so that's going to be excited. So you can send this kit right there, right?
Yeah.
And get the support that you need. So
Pike, it looks like we're all caught up on questions. Bambi, thank you so much for the feedback. The audience loves the live demos too. Like we said, it's the proof in the pudding. We talked about Logi Extend today and got a quick overview, not a quick overview, we got an in-depth overview on Logi Extend, where to use it, how to position it. We got to look at the room configuration tools. We got to look at the updates to the partner portal, which, without driving into it, I'm very excited about. One of the big beefs a lot of people have with, especially with larger companies, is that the resources are scattered and they're hard to find. This will definitely.
Real quick on that, it's not embedded in our partner portal. This is just another partner program, which is like we have a specific page for our POC, which again we'll be sharing as well.
Perfect. Pike, thanks so much for joining us. I can't wait to do it again next time, my friend. The last thing we have left to do, y'all, is just take a look and see somebody did. Yep, we got a random winner picked here. So Pike and the Logitech team were gracious enough to offer the Brio MX Brio 705 webcam giveaway. And shout out to Nick Reagan, who's going to win that. Nick, our team will reach out to you afterwards. Just a quick way for us and the Logi team to say thank you for giving us your time and attention, especially in the middle of a busy day with a lot of great information. Pike, thanks so much for joining us, my friend, and we will look forward to seeing you next time.
Always a pleasure, Joe.